Welcome, everyone, to the Eugene City Council public hearing. Appreciate everybody who showed up and those who are listening at home. Tonight we are talking about an important topic, the ordinance adopting an amended urban renewal plan for the downtown urban renewal district. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor, and I'll just introduce the topic here for just a moment. Tonight's public hearing is on the proposed downtown urban renewal amendment. In March, Council started a process to review the proposed amendment as a funding option for 4 targeted downtown projects that link current opportunities with boosting the economy and revitalizing downtown. These projects will enhance downtown public safety, help Lane Community College build a state-of-the-art new downtown center across from the public library, provide infrastructure improvements to the parks blocks for the farmers market, and attract the Veterans Affairs Clinic to the 12th Avenue and Willamette Street Clinic site. The proposed amendment is for these 4 projects only, would increase the spending limit by $16.1 million, would expand the boundary if the VA chose to locate at that site that I mentioned above. It would end the district when the funds are collected for the projects, approximately FY 18 or 19, and also would establish an annual review panel. Together, the projects work to create an active downtown center that feels safe and welcoming. They also leverage public investment to inspire private investment and generate jobs. Council is scheduled to review comments from the public, planning, commissioning, and taxing districts at their May 10th work session, with action on the ordinance scheduled for May 24th. I should also mention that one of the concerns that is generally brought up is about the impact of the Urban Renewal District on 4J. And recently, at the direction of the Urban Renewal Agency Board, an analysis was completed by the county assessor and city finance staff, which 4J reviewed and concurred with the conclusion. And the conclusion is that 4J is better off financially if the district, downtown urban renewal district, continues. More specifically, 4J would lose $117,000 per year if the district is terminated. The public has been invited to be part of the process and comment throughout Council's discussion of the downtown through multiple workshops, an active website, and we sent written notice on the public hearing and the proposed amendment on March 19th to every property owner in the city. Overlapping taxing districts have until April 30th to provide comment, which allows time for staff and council to review prior to their May 10th work session.
Thank you. All right, so I am now going to open the public hearing. Those wishing to speak during the public hearing must submit a completed request to speak form to the information desk prior to the beginning of the public hearing. And I just let you all know that we have now 32 people signed up to speak tonight. So don't feel you have to take up all the time. When you come to the podium, please give your name, city of residence, and for Eugene residents, your ward if known. You will have 3 minutes to comment. There are lights on the podium. They tell me they work. The yellow light indicates you have 15 seconds to complete your comments. The red light indicates the end of 3 minutes. So, to begin, we'll begin with Sue Pritchard, followed by Ben Sappington.
Good evening. My name is Sue Pritchard. I live at 2671 Emerald Street. I'm in Allen Zelenka's Ward 3. I'm a mostly retired commercial real estate broker, and during the last 22 years of my career, a large percentage of my professional activity focused on the leasing and sales of downtown properties. I served for several years on the Downtown Commission, and I've been a board member of Downtown Eugene Incorporated for many years. Thank you for your commitment to downtown. I really appreciate your efforts to enhance the center of our city, and especially I thank you for developing this sensible, comprehensive plan. We've learned some hard lessons in the past 15 or 20 years about relying on one particular thing to be the fix for downtown. We had the U.S. Bank building, the library, Broadway Place. Not one of these alone could provide that fix. The truth is that it takes all of these things and more. It's a very complex puzzle, and many things have to be going at once in both the public and the private sector to make it work. And not only does it take many things going at once, it takes a continued commitment over time. We won't be done when these projects are completed. We'll have new opportunities to continue to fill in the puzzle. That is why I strongly support your favorable vote to amend the Urban Renewal Plan as proposed. It is comprehensive, it's a start, it's important, and without it, time will pass and nothing will change. Tax increment financing is an effective tool and one of the few tools we have to facilitate revitalization and renewal in our community. It provides leverage, and in times of scarce resources and prudent spending, it's the kind of leverage that we need to encourage other individuals and institutions to do their parts to revitalize downtown. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Each of the components in this project is really important, but I do have a favorite. I think it's really important to get the Lane Community College campus built downtown. Lane Community College changes lives. It changed my life. I entered Lane Community College in 1971 as a young mother with 2 children on welfare. I came out 2 years later with a full scholarship to attend the University of Oregon and get a bachelor's degree. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of stories like mine of people whose lives are profoundly affected by their experiences at Lane Community College. I can't think of a better location for an institution that changes lives in such good, healthy ways than to have it right down in the middle of our downtown. I think this bundle of projects is really well thought out and addresses a large variety of interests that serve a broad spectrum of the community's population. Please vote to amend the Urban Renewal Plan, get these projects going, and breathe new life into downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. Ben Sappington is next, followed by William Kennedy.
Good evening. My name is Ben Sappington. I live at 148 Mecca Avenue, Eugene, in Ward 5. I'm a young person early in my career trying to build my life in Eugene. Thriving downtowns have been shown to be increasingly important in the economic development and retaining young, talented workers central to community success in a 21st century economy. A vibrant downtown is not only critical to the success of the bank I work for, but to the greater economic well-being of our community. We have the opportunity before us that can't be missed. It's time for us to stop repeating mistakes of the past and to focus on the future. We as a community must take advantage of projects that are ready to go right now and a funding source that is also available to us right now. We have a funding source that doesn't raise taxes and doesn't take away money from education. Addressing public safety issues downtown will not only protect the downtown area businesses, but will allow the entire community to take advantage of what downtown has to offer. I am fully supportive of the amendment. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. William Kennedy is next, followed by Dan Herbert.
William Kennedy, 1313 Lincoln. I'm with the Downtown Neighborhood Association. I'm 33 years old and I live, shop, and play as much as possible in or near downtown Eugene with my wife and 7-month-old daughter. I've volunteered my time for over 2 years with the Neighborhood Association in an attempt to finally make a dent in downtown's problems. I'm here to urge you to please do whatever it takes to help make the LCC project and the other proposed projects downtown a reality, including increasing the spending cap on the Urban Renewal District. There's no drawback to urban renewal that is worse than having these projects fall through at this time. After 2134 failed, we were told there were plenty of ways and there was plenty of money to fund projects downtown. Well, in my view, several years on, we're pretty much still where we were without urban renewal. Opponents of urban renewal feel the money should go to schools. Well, we're building a school. They feel it should go to public safety and public works. We're improving the park blocks and taking measures to improve public safety. And we're for once looking ahead to another soon-to-be empty building and trying to do something to attract the VA clinic to the Peace Health site. The least sustainable thing about Eugene is its job market for young professionals and families, and it's struggling downtown. I've seen plenty of my peers move away for these reasons. I chose to stay. These projects will help both of these issues. They are good for Eugene. They are good for the future. Please throw everything you have at these projects. We may not have many more chances. Thanks.
Thank you. Dan Herbert is next, followed by Charles Biggs.
I'm Dan Herbert, 1913 Potter Street. Here to support the ordinance extending the downtown urban renewal district. I understand it will fund only 4 designated projects and then, in about 8 years, end the district. But I've heard that some of the critics opposing urban renewal may attempt a referral election to end the district this year instead. That's a bad idea, and I want to challenge it before it gets going. Well, the opposition critics complain that urban renewal diverts revenue mainly from the city's general fund, from the schools, and from the county. It's a weak argument. Here's why. Because the city's general fund could fare even worse if urban renewal can't be used to fund these projects. And because the schools, as we've heard this evening, won't suffer from diversion since the state makes up the shortage, and because these 4 projects, all of them, serve the whole county, not just the downtown. I have more challenges for referral. First, if referral succeeds in rejecting urban renewal, alternative means of funding these projects would cost an estimated $3 million more. Second, a referral election, win or lose, would cost the city at least $25,000 for a voter's pamphlet or its equivalent, and would cost the county about $75,000 for election expenses. That's another $100,000 down the drain. Third, a referral, win or lose, would delay the city's share of financing, or LCC, until November or even later if alternative financing had to be arranged, risking costly delays or scuttling the whole project. Another reason to challenge referral is that the opponents' harsh rhetoric could get even worse. I say worse because they have already called the funding plan a scam, a shell game, and have suggested that it involves money laundering by the city officials. Hot button language like this just shuts down any serious discussion of important issues. We don't need even more of it. Even the critics might agree that ending urban renewal a few years early isn't worth such high cost to the whole community.
Thank you. Next is Charles Biggs, followed by Alexis Garrett.
Hello, my name is Charles Biggs. I live at 540 Antelope Way, Eugene, Oregon, and I do not support this expansion as it is currently written for several aspects. I do like the LCC project, but it's not contingent on them building the housing. And the housing is what we really need downtown, and the students there would really make a difference. We already have LCC facility there currently, same size as what they're planning to build, and I think that this should be amended so that it is contingent on them building the housing. Also, the VA clinic, it would be great if they were there, but I don't see the local government having to do a bailout to the tune of $2.5 million to persuade them to go there. It's already a nonprofit property. The owners of the property are very wealthy. Peace Health has quite a lovely facility that they have outside of Eugene now, and I don't think that we should spend local tax money to the tune of $2.5 million to subsidize that development, which would have to redevelop or upgrade the facility at any rate. And I would also like to suggest that at least the information that I received in the information packet on page 17 of the April 2nd memorandum to the Planning Commission indicated $650,000 loss to the schools. So I don't know where Mr. Ruiz came up with his new figures of that, but I'd be interested to hear more about it, because any loss to the schools or to the county can't be had at this point, no matter how small or insignificant we may choose to make it appear. Thank you.
Thank you. Alexis Garrett is next, followed by Dennis Carr.
Thank you. Alexis Garrett, 113 West 18th Avenue, Ward 1. I have served as the chair of the Eugene Redevelopment Advisory Committee since 2004, and we have had the task and privilege of reviewing every viable project proposed to support a vibrant, safe, and economically sound Eugene downtown. As a committee, we understand the unique costs and construction and staging challenges of building in the downtown area and of the importance of creative funding to ensure realistic projects move from concept to completion. We have sponsored and heard community input on every level, every side, from talking in line at the grocery store to public forums. In the last 6 years, we have confidently supported and recommended other exciting and inspiring projects that we felt would be the foundation for the desired controlled development, living wage jobs, subsidized and market rate housing, and inviting venues for the arts important to the future livability of Eugene. As a committee of business owners and decision makers, we also acknowledge we could never have predicted the economic challenges we have shared and continue to share with the interested developers, the funding sources, taxing districts, and the community in recent years. In another time and economic cycle, this plan amendment might have been a very different proposal. We have reviewed, questioned, rated, prioritized, and discussed the current plan amendment, and we understand, even with its limits and imposed expiration date, this baby step forward is a welcome and positive step forward. We unanimously support the Downtown Urban Renewal Plan Amendment as stated. The Eugene Redevelopment Advisory Committee is also compelled to add, for the record, that we support urban renewal plans as viable, valuable, proven funding options, both essential and justified, and we hope in another time and economic climate it will be possible to create new urban renewal districts to support the shared vision of a vibrant Eugene downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. Dennis Carr is next, followed by Scott Sanders.
Good evening, Dennis Carr, 4263 Bent Tree Lane, South Eugene Ward. Full disclosure, I went to Lane Community College as well. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you on behalf of Lane Community College about our vision for a new downtown center campus at 10th and Charlton. This is a tremendous opportunity for the college, the city, and the community. Lane Community College is fully committed to this project. The new campus embodies our mission of accessible education and training and also supports our core value of sustainability. The 10th and Charlton site dovetails with the city's redevelopment needs and sustainability goals, as well as promises a significant return on investment. The new campus will house a variety of college programs, including small business development services, credit classes, continuing education, and our growing programs for mature learners. We would also bring our nationally acclaimed energy management and renewable energy programs to the downtown center. Students would be able to use the new building as a learning laboratory for their classes as they train for growth careers in energy management and green technologies. There will be meeting rooms and gathering spaces available for business, community organizations, and community members. We also have plans to construct housing at the new site, which could bring up to 200 new residents downtown. This project will truly serve as a hub for education, business, and civic vibrancy at 10th and Charlton. Thanks to the city's partnership, the voters who renewed Lane Community College's bond in November of 2008, the state matching grants, and overwhelming community support, we've all come to this threshold of beginning a new exciting project for Lane Community College in the city of Eugene. This project can and will create economic opportunity through a state-of-the-art training facility, and it will create hundreds of immediate construction jobs. We're grateful, deeply grateful for the mayor's support and city council leadership, and we're heartened by the council's recent decision and commitment to invest $8 million in this project. This commitment is essential to moving the project forward. Those of us charged with making decisions now will impact the future for generations to come. The building that we construct soon will outlast all of us here tonight and provide decades of services to students in the community. With the city's commitment secured, we could begin architectural and engineering work this summer and have a shovel-ready project by September or October this coming fall. This timeline would present significant advantages in securing additional funding from state and federal entities as well as potentially utility companies. We plan to build a 90,000 square foot academic building, nearly twice as large as the existing facility. A 4-story project building that will be LEED Platinum certified and a very attractive addition for downtown Eugene. If we can proceed as we hope to, we could see completion as early as fall 2012 on a fast-track schedule. I urge your careful consideration of the decisions before you. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott Sanders is next, followed by Chris Boone.
Scott Sanders, 278 Susan Street, Eugene, Oregon, 97404. There's no silver bullet that's going to revitalize downtown. What I believe in the long run is private investment, not public investment, that will bring about the change we all want. However, we need to make improvements now that attract more private investment over time. Those include increasing viability, increasing safety, and increasing activity in the downtown corridor. The Urban Renewal Plan Amendment, while not perfect, does these things. It will dedicate funds to public safety. It will help increase activity and foot traffic downtown. And it will leverage city dollars into 2 major projects, potentially in LCC and the VA hospital. So for that reason, I support the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris Boone is next, followed by, looks like, Malian Pack.
Good evening, Mayor Piercy and councilors. My name is Chris Boone. I reside at 453 Haywood. I think I'm in Ward 7. This will be my first time I've ever provided public comment to the council, but I feel this is a very important topic to me, being a young professional in our community. I have lived in Eugene area most of my life, only leaving for a few years to go to college and work in Portland. I then returned to work for a local business and raise my family here. For young professionals like me, it is imperative that we make progress on filling empty space downtown. This includes the pits and office vacancies. We also need to increase the level of activity downtown. There are many examples throughout the U.S. that in order to have a vital economy, you must have a good base of young professionals in the community. And one of the key elements of attracting and retaining this demographic is an active and vibrant core. I can provide personal stories that this is the case among my group of friends and business associates, some who are no longer reside here partly due to the lack of an active downtown. I believe a safe and thriving arts and entertainment district combined with bars, restaurants, and cafes would increase the quality of life for Eugene residents and make it more attractive to young professionals. The currently proposed projects are a giant step in the right direction if the city can help fill one of the vacant pits. This will bring positive energy and activity downtown by attracting more community college students from all over the region and providing a long overdue public safety presence. I've seen many past attempts at bringing new business and activities downtown fail. We can't continue to let that happen again and again. We have a great opportunity to use a funding tool that is available now to begin construction on a new LCC building and to address some of our public safety challenges now. I ask that you please don't delay any longer. Please support these crucial projects for the current and future livelihood of Eugene. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Malian Pack is next, followed by Oliver Thornton.
Good evening, Mayor Piercy and members of the City Council. My name is Malian Pak, and I live at 3057 Whitbeck Boulevard in Ward 2. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak in support of the Downtown Urban Renewal District. It is my belief that a thriving downtown is critical for economic growth and an engaged community. For those businesses who are working hard to engage people in our downtown, it is critical for the City Council to support revitalization of our park blocks and augment public safety to attract businesses and individuals who are engaged and active in helping to stimulate our local economy. As someone who works downtown, I support any activity that will stimulate economic growth and development. Increased numbers of LCC students and people who patronize the Saturday market will benefit all businesses who depend on a vital downtown. The Council's support of the Urban Renewal District will help increase activity, attracting more people and businesses to help revitalize and participate in the myriad activities that make our city so special. Without your support, we will likely continue to see increased vagrancy and empty storefronts. Starting with this measure, I believe we can re-energize discussions around our downtown and help reposition downtown Eugene as the heart and soul of our community. Thank you for your time and support of the Urban Renewal Plan Amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Oliver Thornton is next, followed by Craig Willis.
Good evening. My name is Oliver Thornton. I live at 1363 West 10th Alley, Eugene, 97402. I'm 80 years of age. I'm speaking on behalf of this measure, supporting it conditionally. I would like to have the condition that it's a ballot measure. I think the public has a right now, between these hard economic times and some other issues, the public should have the say in how the public money is spent on this district. An example, reading this, it was great. It had every one of the projects has an appeal to one person or another. So overall, it's very appealing. But you get to this towards the tail end, and what caught my attention more than the projects was this money. The money for this project will be diverted from schools, from the city, from the county. But there is parenthetically a statement that the money diverted from the schools will be picked up by the state. Good luck on that one as far as the economic times that we're now facing. Without putting this on a ballot measure and making some priority about which one of the projects are best suited for what the public believes, I think some have maybe greater appeal than others. But the public needs at this time really to allocate the money, say, yes, spend this money on these particular projects or deny the money for certain projects. And I think the council would be remiss by not referring it to a ballot measure, because at this time, more important than ever, the public has a chance and a reason and a need to vote on each one of these projects. Thank you.
Craig Willis is next, followed by John Brown.
Good evening, Mayor Piercy, City Council. Thank you for listening to us. My name is Craig Willis. I reside at 1475 Queens Way in Ward 4. And I am the Artistic Director for Lord Liebrick Theater. As you know, we are currently in process of renovating the property adjacent to what I lovingly refer to as Lake Charnelton. I'd like to add my voice to those that have come before in encouraging the strongest support possible for amending the Urban Renewal Plan. I think it is vital to the success of current redevelopment and planned redevelopment that is happening in our downtown. I would also like to address briefly a concern that I've heard from many sources over nonprofits and the payment of property taxes or lack thereof. This year, Lord Liebrick Theater Company will have paid over $20,000 in property taxes, and going forward, we will continue to pay property taxes. How is that so? It's possible because in our redevelopment plans, we intend to always have commercial retail space as part of our project. And any space that is not solely dedicated to our core mission is not exempt from property tax. I'd also, beyond that, even if we were completely exempt, I would like to point out that we give employment to many people, such as myself, who are homeowners within the city limits of Eugene and pay property taxes. And we spend our less than extravagant salaries supporting other local businesses whose employees are also residents of the city and property tax payers. So please, please support the Urban Renewal Amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. John Brown is next, followed by Jim Olney.
John Brown, Ward 5. For purposes of the record, my comments this evening are not from any board or commission that I currently hold a position on, but they're personal. You know, I've come to this podium many a times, and I usually just have one topic, but this evening I'd like to change that, and because I can't say anything else anyhow. But that said, you've got it right. You've done a wonderful job of, I believe, in covering everything you need to cover. And the order is irrelevant. To me, you know, I've always said you could put the Taj Mahal downtown, it doesn't matter, but nobody's going to go down there until it's safe. That, to me, is the very, very fundamental thing you need to do, is make it safe and then do the rest of it. But you've got the diversity of programs here. I believe in the 60 years I've been in this community, I've never seen anything as good and diverse and something I can get behind. I'm part of that 52% that pays the tax, and I'm not afraid to pay for it because I know what we'll get back. I think you've done a wonderful job of coming forth with this. I've been working on the Veterans Clinic for 7 years now, not as a real estate broker, but as a veteran, because as you'll know, this Friday we have 800 soldiers returning to our community, and that number is going to get increasingly higher, and we're going to have to serve that element of our society in a way that we do much better now. And by being able to give them the opportunity to have a service in our community is wonderful. Farmers Market, the public safety, LCC. I too went to LCC. I got an early out from Vietnam to come back and go, and I know as well as Sue does, there's light at the end of that tunnel. And it's a wonderful facility. It's a wonderful organization. The housing, to me, is very, very important that it get constructed, but they're a very critical element of our society and our community, and I think it's important that you support each and every one of these. And I'm personally not, I'm going to support every part of it. Thank you very much for doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim Olney's next, followed by Mary Salinas.
Thank you, Mayor and City Councilors. My name is Jim Olney. I'm the Executive Director of the Eugene Public Library Foundation. Personally, I'm a resident of Ward 5. As you all know, that the Eugene Public Library Foundation for the past 25 years has been raising funds to support the Eugene Public Library system. They've raised over $7 million to help build the new building and support programs and services. And since the building was finished being built a couple years ago, it has kind of stood alone as a pursuit of literacy and community and in our community. And we're hoping when you approve this Urban Renewal District funding for the LCC project, there will be an incredible partnership built across the street. And that partnership is going to be a great achievement for the people of Eugene, pursuing the ends of literacy and community building. And we really want to see that happening because we know that a library is more than just books in a building. It is part of the community. And it is storytelling, it is so many things, and so many students who are going to be in the LCC classes are going to come over to the library and vice versa, and it's going to be an incredible environment that we really want to see. We know that it will raise a level of energy and enthusiasm in the community. The library is doing that on its own. We don't want it to stand alone too long. We want a partnership with LCC across the street, and I think that will also address the public safety issues, because when you have a lot of energy and a lot of people moving around the downtown, then you know that the problem is going to move elsewhere. That doesn't solve the problem, but it does get us better back on downtown for the future. So we support the urban renewal funding. We hope you approve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mary Salinas, followed by Tamara Underwood.
My name is Mary Salinas. My address is currently General Delivery, downtown Eugene, 97401. I was homeless around Christmas time for about a week. 12 years ago, I was homeless for 2.5 years. I was 50 when I became homeless. It became the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me. I was homeless 2.5 years. I eventually became a part of the long-standing homeless community, and it is a community. Before I became homeless, I thought like most everybody about the homeless. I didn't know anything about them, and then I met them, and they're human. They're just like you. Some good, some bad, mostly in the middle, just like me, just same. Living downtown area, disliked by most people, hurt, hungry, crippled, refused at the hospitals. I went the whole gamut in that time I was homeless. I also did 2 semesters of college living on the river. I worked 7 different jobs, but I became a strong spokesperson for the homeless. They are at the center of urban renewal. Obviously, public safety means the homeless. And I would speak particularly for the children who hang out around the library. They are children. They're your children. And I want you to help them, and more than just have more policemen. They need a soup kitchen 7 days a week, same place. Lots of milk. They need parking. They need legal parking, places where they can park legally. They have expressed to me that that's very important to them. They need compassionate homeless shelter. They need it very badly. 30 homeless people died last year. You can do anything you want to a homeless person. Anything. If you don't do it in public, you'll get away with it. Anything. You never hear of a homeless person being raped. You never hear about people being stabbed. You never hear about them disappearing. So I feel a great responsibility to try to help you see them somewhat differently. And they're not transients. They have a community. Long-standing people have grown up here are homeless. And the veterans, you're about to have a new batch of homeless veterans. So I really believe that you should try to help the homeless. You do need more policing, yes. And you have money from the city to help the homeless. Please help them, all right?
Thank
just
you.
Move them off center a little bit.
Thank you.
Yes. Move them off.
Tamara Underwood, followed by Joseph Newton.
Good evening. My name is Tamara Underwood. I live at 2780 Olive Street. I have owned Bagel Sphere with my husband for 15 years this December, located right in the heart of downtown Eugene. We also own the Novella Cafe, located inside the Eugene Public Library. I'm standing tonight before you to absolutely urge you to vote on this urban renewal district as stated. It is targeted to what the citizens of this community have said over the years, what is important to us. This isn't an ambiguous urban renewal funding package that has no clarity, no structure. This is very targeted. It has dollar amounts associated with it. It has the projects that we've all stated at one time or the other over the years that are important to us. And what downtown Eugene particularly needs is critical mass. And this helps to bring that through the LCC development, through the VA hospital, through supporting the farmers market, and certainly the public safety component. It's not one or the other. There is no silver bullet, but it's an iterative process, and I hope that you can get behind this, that this is a start. There's plenty of us who are committed, who've committed our livelihoods to downtown, who employ lots of people downtown, and we absolutely urge you to support this and know that there's plenty of community members who support this and are behind you and hoping you do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Joseph Newton, followed by Kit Kesey.
Joseph Newton, Deep Whitaker, Andrea's district. 2.5 years ago, I strongly supported the previous urban renewal measure. I saw it as a massive boondoggle that was a subsidy to the development interests that would override the natural development of downtown. Tonight I want to speak just as strongly in favor of this. This is about vital public services, vital institutions. This is about restoring the commons to downtown in the direction we can see downtown taking. I'm not sure every aspect of it should be fixed in stone. I hope we don't stop striving for an indoor farmers market. I'd love to see LCC put a theater in that building because that would fit so well with the entertainment theme. There may be issues, but these are all good measures, and we should get behind them. This is the right direction for urban renewal to take.
Thank you. Kit Kesey is next, followed by Jim Welsh.
Hello, my name is Kit Kesey. I live at 2040 West 34th in Eugene. I own the McDonald Theater building downtown. I'd like to speak out in support of this plan. It's long overdue. It's what I'd hoped was going to occur as I purchased the property. The development of downtown is vitally important to put more life and more activity. The public safety aspect of this plan is more important, I think, than most people know. I live in it daily. The effect on my patrons, on the business, on the physical property via the public safety aspect is I deal with it every day. The more support we can have for downtown businesses like mine, the better off we are. The more life downtown, the better off we are. The LCC project would be outstanding. I'm in full support, and I thank you.
Thank you. Jim Welsh is next, followed by Richard York.
Mayor Piercy and City Council, I'm Jim Welsh here for the Eugene Association of Realtors. They reside at 2139 Centennial Plaza here in Eugene. You know, the realtors for a long time have been following, of course, all the proposals for downtown and very supportive. And as I provided the testimony, very short testimony that you have in front of you, hopefully for the realtors, and asked them to, you know, if there's anything else that they want to add. They said, you know, Jim, just thank them for the continued interest and attention to downtown. Yes, we've had disappointments. We've had very strong possibilities of investment downtown that failed. But we can't, they reminded me to tell you, we can't give up. Let's continue. And with a very diverse community, we all have a very special vision, very different visions for downtown from time to time also. But the fact is, what we have planned right now are worthy projects. And a tax increment financing will be very helpful, especially for present projects. If they get going right away, we know that funding can be very helpful. But it will pave the way for future growth. And hopefully, that future growth is going to include some more tax-paying members within downtown to help us pay the bill and continue with these projects. And we've always felt a high priority is the public safety factor, and we're very pleased that's part of this. So thank you. Keep up the good work, and let's hopefully pass this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard York is next, followed by Kathy Eaton.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Richard York, and I live in Ward 2. I would like to speak in favor of this amendment. I think this is a very carefully designed plan. I think all four of the projects are very well thought out. They provide vital public services, and I think they will all help improve quality of life in our community. In particular, I think the LCC Downtown Campus is an excellent idea. I think expanding the educational opportunities for people in our community is very valuable, and making a site downtown, which is much easier access to many people, will make it much easier for some people who have not had opportunities before. Therefore, I'd like to encourage you all to support this amendment. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Kathy Eaton is next, followed by Phil Farrington.
Oops. Sorry. Good evening. My name is Kathy Eaton. I live at 472 Covey Lane, Eugene. I'm speaking on behalf of the League of Women Voters of Lane County this evening. The League supports the proposed amendments to the Eugene Downtown Urban Renewal District Plan. We're in favor of increasing the indebtedness and as well as expanding the boundary of the by 5 acres. We believe that the 4 projects specified in the plan as the sole projects to be undertaken by the district will contribute to the planned goals of strengthening the economic conditions in the planned area, as well as enhancing downtown's role as a center for public and private development and investment. We regard tax increment financing as a reasonable method to raise revenue for such activities. Additional investment in downtown Eugene is critical to take advantage of the significant investment that has already occurred or is occurring in the construction of the Eugene Public Library, the Lane Transit District Station, several housing developments, and the Beam Project. It is surely time for the city to move forward with a plan to convert vacant lots and underutilized facilities to vibrant activity centers. It is critical for Lane Community College to retain its presence downtown with a modern, energy-efficient building in a location with good transit services and available parking. The college is a magnet, attracting students of all ages seeking vocational training, associate's degrees, 4-year college transfer. It would be an additional benefit if student housing were also available. The Broadway Place garages provide a public parking facility that supports housing and commercial activity in the downtown area. Such assistance to the City of Eugene to redirect its spending to public safety improvements in the downtown area, thereby addressing a significant barrier to economic health and livability. The improvements to the area used by the farmers market will increase the functionality of that space for consumers, customers, and vendors, and support local sustainable agricultural and small businesses. We view the 12th and Willamette site as an ideal location for a Veterans Affairs clinic. It is an underutilized complex with adequate parking that is well served by public transportation and major streets. We urge the Council to adopt the plan amendments and to move forward with the specified projects. While not necessarily advocating a referral to the amendment plan to voters, it would not be inappropriate given the expansion of both the maximum indebtedness and the geographic boundary of the district.
Thank you. Next is Phil Farrington, followed by Joy Marshall.
Good evening. Philip Farrington. I live at 1160 Monroe Street in Ward 1. I represent Peace Health as their Director of Land Use Planning and Development. As you know, Peace Health's been actively working with the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs to bring a new outpatient clinic of approximately 120,000 square feet to our area. This project would provide hundreds of family wage jobs and thousands of veterans supporting not only those in Lane County but from surrounding regions. The site at 1162 Willamette Street is a strong candidate for this facility based upon a number of factors, including proximity to transit, adjacency to other services, suitable zoning, and adequate space. The city's ability to exercise its available tools to assist redevelopment on this site no doubt increases its viability. While we don't know what direction or site the VA may choose, we do know that this financing tool gives the downtown site an advantage, and one that could prove decisive. Peace Health looks forward to working with the VA and the city to build a new clinic to benefit the many veterans in our community and to honor their service. I urge you to support this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Joy Marshall is next, followed by Zachary Vishinoff.
Hi, Mayor Piercy and members of the council. My name is Joy Marshall. I live in Ward 2. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak tonight and for your service to our city. I am speaking in favor of the proposal to use the urban renewal money, particularly for the LCC project, and I appreciate many of the points made. I'm just going to add one particular point from my perspective as a school advocate. I have been fighting very hard for almost a decade for more funding for schools and for better schools. I also have 2 kids in Eugene Public Schools, and I venture there are very few people in this town who have put more hours than I have into school funding and spent more shoe leather working for this. So I am very distressed that people are perhaps well intentionally but mistakenly using the school funding argument to oppose this project. It is true that there is a small amount of property tax money that is diverted from schools. That's the fact. And even though the state compensates for most of that, which it will, there was some concern it absolutely will. That's how the system is set up with the school funding mechanism. However, and that money doesn't come from nowhere. I appreciate that. However, it is always a trade-off. We also use property tax money for city council, for fire, for police. There's many important services that are funded by property taxes. And the real question to ask us, is this important for our city? Is this a reasonable and moderate and careful proposal? And it absolutely is. And so I urge people, please do not use misguided argument this will hurt school funding, because as this school funding advocate will tell you, it's good for the community. It does much more good for the quality of life and for education than it does harm. If we wait for perfection, if we wait for perhaps a mechanism of funding that we find more perfect, if we delay and equivocate, we could lose this opportunity. We will lose public trust, and we will lose the opportunity to expand LCC and this really important educational opportunity. So I only speak for myself, but as a school funding advocate, this is good for kids. It's good for our community. So please support this measure. Thank you.
Thank you. Zachary Vishinoff is next, followed by Misha Seymour.
Hi, Zachary Vishinoff, Ward 3. Well, I want to respond a little bit to what the last speaker said. The public already has trust problems with urban renewal. They don't really have problems with LCC, but if if LCC starts using urban renewal or demanding it, I think they could inherit the problems that urban renewal faces. Getting the urban renewal district involved with this LCC deal, instead of having the taxpayer in the front seat to move forward with urban renewal, it really kind of puts them in the trunk, as if they're just kind of a piece of cargo. They don't really need to know where you're going. And I think whether you've got a great plan or not, that urban renewal has a brand problem. So I would just decouple the urban renewal district and the LCC deal because the package, there's this package deal where we're getting safety, we're getting the VA, and we're helping LCC. Well, we're trying to do too many things at once. I think in the past downtown, there's been a lot of different things where there was something for everybody, but it all became too complicated. As far as I can tell, this is the hearing on relocating the police station outside of the city's core because there's a public safety satellite treat in this mix, and so that will help lessen the amount of outrage as far as moving the police station out of the core. So I think the look you should take at this package deal is if something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. I don't know if the public can have refer this, have an initiative and gather signatures. I don't think you want them doing that, and I think they will in its current form because there's a lack of detail. Also, LCC mentions meeting rooms for organizations. What organizations? I think we have a right to know that. That sounds very vague. And if LCC does support this, which sounds like they're officially on the record supporting this, did they consult or poll or let their students vote on that at all? Because we already have one school in town that doesn't really go through the motions of asking students and staff what they'd like to do with their development thing. So if LCC has some record of that, I would hope they would submit it to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Misha Seymour, followed by David McLean.
Misha Seymour, 1313 Lincoln Street in Eugene. I oppose this downtown urban renewal plan. I feel that people are being I feel it's disingenuous to say that, well, we want to have downtown a more welcoming place for everyone. That isn't true. I see a lot of mean-spiritedness trotting fascism, which is out of control now, where the poor are psychologically damaged daily. For example, there's this freedom of assembly at the Eugene Public Library, as people may be aware, has been curtailed, abridged. From time to time, there's a sign over there that says brief conversations only. They have St. Vincent de Paul security people that are telling people to move away. We have been, on one hand, they say, as people probably aware, Eugene's supposed to be the city of the outdoors and the arts, at the same time piping music to drive people away from the library, whereas there could be more mirth minus misery, which would mean, in my opinion, more mellow mammals downtown by letting people like me play music over there and not using music as a weapon to drive people away. Martin Luther King, as people are probably aware, was working on a poor people's campaign towards the end of his life. And I think what we should do is we want everyone to feel welcome, is to have an urban renewal amendment So we have housing for people down there that are the poor, people who don't have much, to uplift people. For example, at Kesey Squares, people probably where the tables and the chairs have been taken away over there, and Carol Burke said that they're not planning to put them back in because that isn't right. Big lies fly. Big lies. They say people can't sleep in the library because it means they're not there to read. That's a rule. It means what are they going to do at home? Say that people can't read a book to their children because they'll go to sleep happy. We need to change things around here. We need to have a town for everyone, and it isn't going on now. It isn't going on, and that's what we should do. We should reject this and send it to the people to vote on.
David McLean is next, followed by Tom Camus.
Mayor Piercy, members of the council, my name's Dave McLean. I live at 202 East Beacon Drive in Mike Clark's ward. Our community has a tremendous opportunity before us. We have an opportunity to take steps to address issues in Eugene that have thwarted us for decades. We have an opportunity to say yes to something rather than continue to say no to each opportunity as it presents itself. We have a project in Lane Community College's downtown center that will spur our local economy and bring hundreds of students downtown, supporting local businesses, and bringing positive activity to our city core. We have the opportunity to fund much needed improvements in public safety, making downtown feel safe and welcoming. We can make sure the farmers market continues to bring activity downtown, and we can not only support area veterans, but fill a vacant space at the same time. This is a great opportunity because we have the projects ready to go. We also have a funding mechanism that will not require raising taxes, a cumbersome bond levy, or harm other services. I ask for our entire community and for those of us who understand how important downtown is to a thriving local economy to take advantage of this opportunity, say yes to these projects, and help our city finally move forward on building the downtown we all deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom Camus is next, followed by William Ivanoff.
Tom Camus, resident downtown for 13 years and a business owner down there next month for 3 years. I've come before this body so many times to tell you about all the issues that we've had downtown. I'm not saying that this is going to solve all of them. It's a darn good step forward, though. LCC, everybody obviously is in favor of. Even the people that are opposed to this measure in its complete form is still in favor of LCC. The different funding mechanisms that I heard that can be used to make this still happen without urban renewal are complicated, and it would also take more time. The one thing that this body and the city of Eugene generally has been really good at is waiting too long to take opportunities that are presented. If we try to stop this in the form that we have now, what is going to happen? Are there alternatives? Are there real alternatives? Something that can be shovel-ready by September. If LCC is ready to move on this project, and we need the force and the will of the city council, a unified front, to get the VA clinic here, that will help also in the security of downtown without having just cops. It will take care of a lot of the homeless people that are down there because a lot of them are veterans. I talk to them all the time. The people that are the vets down there are the people who come up, who will ask me for food or ask me to work. They're not the idiots down there that are trying to get money for booze. So having that balance down there, I think, will help overall. There's some funding left over in this, and there's still another empty pit downtown that we haven't addressed. This is just a start. This will make all my complaints lessen. I'll guarantee you by 50%. So I'm asking you guys to support this because we don't have other options that are real, that are viable right now. Thanks.
Thank you. William Ivanoff is next, followed by Duncan Rhodes.
Hello, I'm William Ivanoff. I live, I think, in Councilor Ortiz's ward, and I just wanted to say a couple things about the projects. One is it would be nice to have something else besides the library reflecting pool. I think it's really nice. Could have been painted blue, but anyways, it would also be really nice for the VA clinic to be downtown. I don't like going out to River Road area. It's really a hassle. And I like that downtown business members realize that a lot of the homeless people are veterans, and so we'll have more homeless people downtown being veterans. And one other thing, was 1967 downtown Eugene so bad? Has the Urban Renewal District increased the livability, the vibrancy of downtown since 1967? Where's the where's the documents that show the complete history of Urban Renewal District? What did downtown look like in 1967 before the Urban Renewal District occurred? Is it worse? Was 1967 worse than downtown today? And I'm not sure if the Urban Renewal District on its own is the cause for the issues we have. There's other city policies that probably drove businesses from downtown. I know that the Valley River Center was not built until 1970s, a couple of years after the Urban Renewal District was created. So there must have been something else that drove the businesses from downtown. We need to look at everything as to why Urban Renewal District is not going to be the thing that's going to solve downtown. It's a more complex issue than that. You need to look at all of the policies that the city has gone through that have created what we have today. Don't just say Urban Renewal District is going to fix it, because just like the state with lottery funds, they're now drunk on lottery funds, even though it increases people having problems with lottery or gaming addiction. I'm just wondering, are we addicted on Urban Renewal District? Thank you.
Thank you. Duncan Rhodes is next, followed by Bill Whalen.
I'm Duncan Rhodes, and I live on Lewis Avenue in Ward 7. A relative newcomer to town, don't know too much about the history. I think the projects in general sound pretty good, but this Urban Renewal District's been around for a long time. I personally would like to see a financial accounting, historical, with the amounts that have been taken in, what they've been spent on, whether it's administrative or actual projects. And I think that ought to be compiled and put together and submitted to a vote by a referendum before any of these projects were approved.
Bill Whalen is next, followed by Jared Mason-Gear. Oh, that was Bill. Nope. He's not here? Okay.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Piercy, councilors. Jared Mason-Gear here on behalf of the Eugene Area Chamber of Commerce, 1401 Willamette Street in Eugene. Councilor, there's a saying that I think we're all familiar with: when opportunity knocks, open the door. I think you could argue that over the course of time here in Eugene, from time to time, opportunity is knocked, and we have collectively cocked our shotgun and shouted at it to get off the porch. This time, I'm very confident that we're not going to let that happen. I think you have deliberated very cautiously and thoughtfully over the course of the last year, and really since 2007, since we started over again in trying to find solutions to our downtown. You've developed a proposal that you should be congratulated for, and that has and will generate a tremendous amount of support. I think you saw that here this evening when we had people from all different aspects of the political spectrum in our community: education advocates, business leaders, nonprofit leaders, young professionals in the community. You name it, there were people here from Eugene talking in support of this proposal. You've put together a list of projects that will spur growth downtown. The LCC project will create a tremendous number of jobs. We're looking at approximately 600 to 700 jobs downtown. It will fill a long vacant pit that's been a disgrace to our community. We'll bring about 3 times as many students downtown. Bring about 200 students into downtown to live in the housing that LCC will provide. Deal with the long-standing public safety issues. ensure that Saturday Market stays downtown and we can benefit from the activity there, the Saturday Market and the Farmers Market, and hopefully be able to serve our veterans in the core of our community as well. Councilors, I really do believe that there are some imperfections in this proposal. Probably from the Chamber's perspective, this would not be ultimately the proposal that we move forward with. There are not as many private projects as we would like to see. Probably would like to see more projects that would generate a tax increment, and probably would like to see ultimately the district remain longer. We're not ideally thrilled with the sunset that's included. These are the kinds of trade-offs that we have to make if we want to move forward as a community. We've come forward with a balanced plan that I think that we all are happy to get on board with, and it'll be encouraging to see the remainder of the community get on board and we can all move forward with this together. Build a downtown that will encourage our community to grow and thrive, grow our economy, and we can all move forward together. Thank you.
Thank you. Final person up tonight, Dave Hauser.
Mayor Piercy, City Councilors, my name is Dave Hauser. I live at 2168 Elkhorn Drive in Ward 5. And one of the great things about going last is you just keep marking off pieces of your prepared remarks. I'm here tonight as a spokesperson for Downtown Eugene, Inc. DEI is a downtown property and business owners association that was founded back in 1988, and since that time we've been a voice of downtown business, promoting responsible downtown development and improving public safety. DEI has many projects in the downtown that they've been involved with, including reopening the streets, providing downtown guides, providing both security and information, and forming the Downtown Services District back in 1994, where downtown property owners have voluntarily agreed to assess themselves an additional tax which they have invested in downtown to the tune of about $4 million over the last 16 years. DEI stakeholders do what they do because, like most of the folks you've heard from tonight, they want to promote a vibrant, safe, and diverse downtown. And as I was sitting in the audience, I was thinking about that old saying that the best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago, and the second best time is today. And rather than mourning the lost opportunities of the past, our energies are better spent thinking about the future, and that's what this plan does, in my view. There are two important elements in the plan that we truly want to support. I think for a long time we felt that finding a way to make one or two key projects happen downtown will have enormously important impact on its image and on future development prospects. The projects enabled by this urban renewal amendment, especially LCC's proposed downtown center, have the potential to jumpstart momentum in our downtown, and we're confident they will. And this is an excellent, well-thought-out proposal, but it's not perfect. In the view of DEI, we have plenty of heartburn about the prospect of sunsetting the urban renewal district earlier than called for in the plan. It's an important tool, and if we had our druthers, we would like to see it continue to exist and enable future projects. Yet, we felt strongly that now is the time to make something happen, and we're willing to accept the trade-off. We support the projects in the downtown amendment and the momentum that they'll create for downtown, and that's a reasonable trade-off to allow the urban renewal district to expire earlier than anticipated. And we appreciate the investments in public safety. We need to do all that we can to make sure that downtown is a place where everyone feels at ease. The recommendations in the plan are consistent with those of the Downtown Safety Task Team, and we're anxious to move forward by freeing up those general fund monies by retiring the debt on the parking garages. So we think this response is important from a public safety standpoint as well. So in summary, DEI supports the proposed amendments. While not flawless, it's time to act and create positive momentum for our downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to close the public hearing. Going to give any councilors a chance to make comments who want to, and then I'm going to ask our council president to put forward a proposal for, we had a request to extend the record, and I'll speak to that in a few minutes, and then you'll be asked to consider that, council. So, and the council president will put it on the table at that time. But right now, I just want comments from people about the hearing tonight. I'll start out by just saying how much I appreciate so many people showing up. I like the comment about restoring the commons. I like that a lot. That space that we should all share, as we sometimes call our community living room, the kind of downtown we'd all like to have, that every neighborhood would enjoy and consider their downtown. I want to thank the McDonald's Library, Lord Liebrick, all of those folks who came to let us know how important it is to them. I want to especially thank Cappy Eaton from the League of Women Voters for coming. I appreciate her making the effort to be here, and I appreciate the support of the League for this project. I would say, from listening to all of you, we certainly recognize this is not going to fix everything that ails us. But it certainly is a good way to get going. And we've had I wouldn't say we've not moved, because we've just recently seen, we've got Lord Liebrick with their building their theater downtown. We've got Beam working right now on the renovation of Center Court. We have the potential for, if this keeps moving in the right way, for some apartments in the Taco Time building. There are a lot of opportunities out there. We just had, Cowfish open in that area. So there are things that are happening, and if we can keep this moving with some momentum, I think that we all feel that will help restore the commons for our community. So I just want to say thank you all for being here. And I'm going to call on Councilor Taylor.
Thank you. And thanks to all the people who came to speak, and a lot of people I like very much, and their organizations also. However, I am opposed to extending urban renewal. I agree with restoring the commons, and I agree with the person who said something about moving the tables and chairs from Kesey Square. That's not restoring the commons, that's destroying the commons. I'd like to point out that urban renewal opened the streets, but it also closed the streets. And there've been a lot of, it also destroyed a lot of historic buildings. It has done good things and bad things. Most people here seem to be very concerned about LCC, and I am too. I think we all are. We want, it is, however, it is already downtown. People who said it's coming downtown, it's already downtown. But have an LCC building across from the library will be great. We can do that without urban renewal. I made a motion on March 8th with pointing out some ways that we could do that. There are other ways, but there are funds available. We can do it. We can support them and end the uncertainty. We can do it in a way that will guarantee that there won't be a referendum that will stop that. If we're going to do this whole thing, if we're going to have urban renewal extended, it should be by a vote of the people. I'm willing to vote to support LCC right now, so there's no uncertainty, and I hope we'll do that. But then if we're going to do other things, if we're going to keep on for another half century or forever, it should be, the public should be allowed to vote on it. Thank you.
Councilor Clark.
Thank you. I wanted to say thank you to everybody who came down. There's so many people and so many organizations they represent. I appreciate very much all your input. I, too, enjoyed the Commons comment. I think, however, Jared Mason-Gear summed up my feelings about what we've seen historically downtown and many people's approach to it. And I think that's what's different about this time. And I'm really enjoying the fact that there are so many people interested in this idea and in support of it, and there's a real energy around it that's different than what I've seen in previous proposals. So I'm energized myself, and I'm optimistic about this. So thank you very much.
Councilor Ortiz.
Okay. My mute button's not working, so I wanted to make sure that it was before I got started. Thank everybody for coming down this evening. I really do appreciate hearing from all the different constituents that we have. I also agree with a lot of what was said about this not being a silver bullet for everything that's going to be wonderful about downtown. And to tell you the truth, it's kind of hard to look at it globally, because Ward 7 has 7 neighborhoods, and I think this affects one of my neighborhoods, and because there's other parts of the city that would be nice if we would spend this kind of energy looking at them and saying, okay, like Highway 99, for instance, is this corridor that has a lot of problems. And, I would like for that to be a conversation and to have everybody's opinion on how can we make Highway 99 a different place and how are we going to look in 20 years there. But this is the focus now, and I support it, and I think that the city has done really good work, and I hope that people will agree with us that this is the right thing to do.
Councilor Brown?
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for coming down. I have to say I didn't really hear too much new tonight from 2.5 years ago, the last time we had a big urban renewal discussion. Pretty much the same arguments on both sides. I think all of us, we on council support each of these 4 projects, but in a different way. I feel we can accomplish these things without urban renewal. It's been 42 years, plus 10 years before that, actually. 1958 was when it started. It destroyed downtown. I moved here 40 years ago. I've been downtown for 40 years. We had a vibrant downtown. Urban renewal destroyed it. Wiped out our architectural heritage. It did a few good things, but it was also very destructive. And that's not the main reason I oppose using it on these projects. We can do these projects without urban renewal. It's time to let it go. It will basically sunset itself on July 1st if we don't move this amendment forward. It won't be able to collect tax increment funds anymore and withhold from the schools and Lane County and the city's general fund. If we forward this amendment and it becomes active, the city will lose at least $10 million from the general fund in 9 years. Now that goes a long way towards public safety. That goes we have other resources that we can use to make LCC happen right now. Plus, we never did explore a revenue bond. That was one funding mechanism that was not presented for council's consideration. So it puts the opponents in a rather odd position because certainly I want to see LCC fill that pit with housing and with the instructional. Do I want to see the city pay them $1.2 million for their old building? No. No, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see the city do that and hold on to that building forever and ever and then give it away to somebody. That's crazy. That's classic urban renewal. We've done that a million times. So if you look at each one of the projects, you see flaws. From way up in the air, they all look great, and I do support them, but not in their current form. There's problems with every one of them, and I believe that the city has perfectly adequate finances to make all these projects move forward and become reality. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. I think we should be able to vote on it. I think it's really important for taxpayers to vote on a major expenditure of their hard-earned tax dollars that they've turned over to the city. In fact, I think it's really wrong for the council not to refer it to ballot. Now, I don't know.
Thank you, George.
Okay, thanks.
Councilor Zelenka.
Thank you all for coming to and spending your Monday night here with us. Sometimes we get lonely, but other times we're happy to see you. So thank you all for coming down and expressing your opinion. I agree with the folks that said that this isn't a silver bullet for downtown, but it's a good start. This is not the same package, not the same thing that we did 2 years ago. It's completely different. The projects are entirely different. The VA hospital, LCC, farmers market, and more policing downtown is completely different game. So to me, no analogy. Mr. City Manager, I think if you could go over again what you said at the beginning, what the impacts are on 4J. There seems to be a misconception here.
I can. Based on the analysis from the county assessor and our staff, and then also confirmed and reviewed by 4J, the way it actually would work is that 4J would lose $117,000 per year if the district is not continued. And so it's financially, strictly from a financial standpoint, it's to their advantage to continue the district.
So who did the analysis?
Annette Spickard, her staff at the assessor's office, and confirmed by 4J's finance staff.
So there seems to be a common misconception that the Urban Renewal District hurts schools, 4J in particular. I asked for this analysis because I didn't believe that. And the county assessor, 4J, and the city of Eugene have done this analysis. The odd quirks of Measure 5, 47, and 50 make it so that 4J will actually be hurt by $117,000 if we eliminate the Urban Renewal District. So please don't believe the rhetoric. Do your homework, and because it's just not true. So not supporting this measure, I think, will also kill like dead as a doornail the VA hospital. If we vote to not support this, that site is off the table. And it will also hurt our chances to have LCC be there. So what the opponents of this plan are not telling you is that these great projects, LCC, VA, Farmers Market, and policing downtown, we can do that in Urban Renewal District without raising your taxes one dime, while their plan will actually raise your taxes and hurt 4J. So we have an opportunity here. I hope we don't, cock our shotgun and tell them to go get off the porch. But I think it's an opportunity here to start fixing downtown again. It's not the silver bullet, but I think it's an opportunity that we should take while we have it and move this plan forward.
Councilor Pryor.
Councilor Zelenka actually said a lot of what I was going to say. I was on the 4J school board for 11 years, and during that time we pressed to create local option levies, which are based on the compression between different values in housing. That really helped the school district a lot. The local option levies were outside the state school funding formula, so the set amount of money every student gets was in place, but these local option levies could actually help at the local level. Andrea, who was also on a school board, Councilor Ortiz, and I both know that if you increase funding at the local level for schools, that amount of money is reduced in what you get from the state. That's basically why if you give a bunch of money to the school district, the state reduces the amount that they pay by that amount. And so really what the school district would get would be about, after it's all netted out, about $20,000. If you look at the compression from local option levies, the school district on those levies loses $137,000 every year because they can't collect that amount from the local option levy. Which means if you take the 20 out that they've netted from the other money, that leaves them at a loss of $117,000. So it's not voodoo mathematics. The assessor did it, we proposed it by looking at it, and the school district has confirmed it. It was a clincher for me, having been a former school board member, that I can't in all good conscience hurt my school district by over $100,000 a year in order to kill urban renewal. I can't do it. I've also talked with my colleagues at the county, and they have expressed very articulate arguments why they also would like to have the money. And I would love to be able to give it to them, but you have to consider everything else. This is a real viable, we could start building it in September possibility to get LCC downtown and to do these other things. There may be other ways to do it, and I won't argue there may be other ways to do it. There have always been other ways to do it, and one way or another, those other ways never kind of pan out. One could be a bond, and the bond would indebt us for 20 years. Even if we get rid of the Urban Renewal District, it would be in 9 years. We could do these projects and still be out of it in 9 years, rather than taking on a bond for 20. Your taxes won't go up. 4J won't be hurt. We can get LCC downtown and we can have public safety. As much as I may not think, as many people here have said, that urban renewal is the magic bullet or the greatest thing in the world since sliced bread, and it may have erred in the past. I wasn't here in the past. But it can do good now. That to me is what is important. We have a chance for it to do something good. Do it now and only do it for 9 years and then end it, and not hurt others in the course. That's what's persuasive to me.
Councilor Poling.
Councilor Pryor just touched on one of the points that I was going to bring out, in that this amendment, it does, at the end of the projects, make the urban renewal district go away, which a majority of people that I've talked to actually think is a good idea. But before it does that, hopefully we can get the funding in place for these projects. There's nothing in the current amendment that and none of these projects is going to destroy any part of downtown other than Lake Charlton. It's going to add to the beauty of downtown. It's going to create a vibrant atmosphere in the downtown area. And again, like I said, and it does create a sunset for the district. And I think Councilor Brown brought up the subject of us spending $2.5 million of buying the LCC building as a part of this whole deal, the old LCC building that they're currently in. My recollection of the meeting that we had the last time we discussed this, that there was an overwhelming lack of support for us to do that, and I think that has been dropped. Primarily, hopefully this urban renewal projects, these 4 projects we're working on, will be the last time we get involved in any type of a real estate deal. We don't need to be doing that. Some of the arguments that I've heard in opposition to this package that's being presented is that, well, all the money is being spent for government agency and people who aren't going to pay taxes. And my recollection of the last time we had a vote on this, one of the arguments was, well, all the money is being spent on private developers. Let's use the urban renewal district monies for better things, like for schools and for social services and things, organizations that can't afford to pay the taxes. So it all depends on what you're looking at is where the argument's going to go. And some of the people that argued against the last one because the money was going to the private developers are the ones that are arguing against it now because we need to invest this in private development and not government agencies. And the other thing is the expansion of the district is site-specific. It's only for the site that is being looked at by the VA, and that's only if the VA decides to move into that site. If it doesn't, then we're not spending the money for that site. So, I received a phone call from a gentleman the other day and asked me if the council and the mayor was going to vote on this, if it was going to be decided by the vote of the mayor and the council. And I said the mayor only votes in cases of ties, but I do believe that the council will vote on it. One way or the other, we're going to have to vote on it. Now, whether it goes to the voters depends on which direction our vote goes and if enough signatures are collected. But I think that will cause a great delay in all 4 of these projects, and we're going to miss a golden opportunity.
Councilor Taylor.
I agree we shouldn't delay, and that's why I think we should find another way to support LCC rather than waiting for urban renewal, rather than waiting to see if people do get the signatures for a referendum. Urban renewal does not create money. Some people act as if they say it won't raise taxes. Where do you think the money comes from? It doesn't make money. It comes from someplace. If we continue to divert money from the county, which we are doing, then they have a greater need to raise taxes to pay for public safety, for example. It does come, it's tax money that we're using, which is why people should vote on it. But I am willing to use our current resources to support LCC's building without waiting for a vote of the people. If we're going to do other things, if we're going to continue the district, we need a vote. And this is the one thing that's urgent that needs to be decided soon, and we can decide it if we have the resolution to do it. I guess that's enough. Thanks.
I'm going to wrap up this part by really once again expressing my real appreciation for this outpouring of support for these projects. Very much appreciate people taking time from their lives to come and let us know how much this means to you. So, Council, we received a request by email to keep the record open through May 17, and when we get those kind of requests that the record be open, our practice is to do it. Council usually provides an additional 7 to 14 days. In this case, the city, we've already agreed to keep the record open until the 4:30 for overlapping tax districts. So asked Mike to put on the, Councilor Clark, That's an additional 11 days beyond tonight's public hearing, and so I'm asking him to put on the table a motion that recommends we extend the record like we are doing for the taxing districts until 4:30 for all testimony.
Well, it seems the mayor covered it, so I'll move that.
Okay.
April 30th, yeah. Move that the record remain open for 2 weeks until Friday, April 30th.
Moved and seconded.
Okay. Yes.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion also.
Yes, I see you. I see it, Councilor Brown.
Give a second.
Okay.
We got a second.
Yes. I move that City Council, acting as the Urban Renewal Agency, keep the public record on the Downtown Urban Renewal District Plan Amendment open through May 17th, 2010.
That's a substitute motion.
A substitute motion, yes.
All right, been moved and seconded. Councilor Ortiz.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just going to ask City Attorney, so moving to have the record open until 4:30 gives us 11 days. Keeping it open until May 17th gives us more than that. So I understand that if the City Council votes in the affirmative to expand the Urban Renewal District, that some community members are looking at doing a referendum. What time frame would either of those dates put us into if they gathered the signatures by such a date?
I can probably weigh a little bit on that also. The formal action that the council will take is at your May 24 meeting, in which that's when you would actually approve the amendment. The concern that we would have of moving or extending the record past the 30th is you'll have a work session on May 10th. What we traditionally do, and what we'd want to be able to do in this case, is if there is additional testimony, we'd want to have some time to be able to provide council information by the 10th in order to evaluate that information. And so keeping it open till the 30th allows us to do that. The real operative date, though, for the gathering of signatures is that May 24th date from the council action.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Polling?
I cannot support the substitute motion because of the reasons that the city manager just brought up. Looking at the agenda item summary, we do have a work session on May 10th, which is 7 days before the proposed end of the time to allow public comment. And we need the information ahead of time. The city staff needs the information ahead of time to put together documents that they're giving to us for us to use on the work session on the 10th. If the substitute motion does pass, I would suggest that we postpone the May 10th meeting and give us the same allotted time, move it out on the calendar, as well as the scheduled meeting to vote on it, so the city staff has time to process all the documents and comments that come in after up to the 17th, and then gives us time, the council time, to study it. So as it stands now, I cannot support the proposed substitute motion.
Councilor Zelenka.
So I understand it does not affect anybody's ability to gather signatures, correct?
That's correct.
And we have a scheduled work session for May 10th, which means we need to have the record closed and ready for us and prepared for us to be able to do our work session on the 10th.
Correct.
Normally, in the course of operations, we do a 2-week extension if it's requested. So that would put this out to Monday, May 3rd, which would be our normal course of events. Would that be problematic for getting the packet done that Monday?
We can handle that. If you choose to go to May 3rd and close the record, we could provide responses to those in time for your May 10th work session.
Right. For Councilor Brown, I guess normal course of things are 2 weeks, and we do that as a matter of course. Is there some special circumstance that would require us to go even further than that?
I'd like it to go a little farther than that. simply because each one of these proposed projects is so rich with problems, and I think that there might possibly be legal problems associated with using TIF money and paying off the debt of the Broadway garages and using that for ongoing expense, hiring police with it. It's possible that there might be a legal problem there.
Well, that's not going to be resolved within the 14
well,
days.
Here's the main reason.
Clear.
In one of our AISs, I think it was last July, it said it's pretty mandatory for a 100-day process to amend an urban renewal plan. Well, this is on the fast track.
Are you timing this?
This is moving really, really fast, and we haven't really discussed it very much, considering the amount of money that's being proposed here. Actually, the staff and manager have chopped it down to about 70 days, not 100 days. So,
okay,
I feel like asking for a few more days to accept testimony from people that are researching
Let's
this.
get back in the queue the right way here.
So other than
That's not an unreasonable thing to ask for.
Yeah, well, normally what we do is 14 days. So
normally we do 100 days.
George, I'll call on you in a minute.
If this
okay?
motion fails, I'll either Councilor Clark can do it or I'll do it. I'll do it that we open the record for the normal length of time, which is 14 days.
Okay.
Now, Councilor Brown, you have other comments you want to make?
No.
Okay. Councilor Clark.
Yeah, this is another part of the beauty of going last. I think it all gets said here. That's what I was going to propose, that we amend the original to the Monday, which we'll do after if this fails rather. It's also important to note, I think, that it's only the very rare occasion where we actually extend the record and let it remain open. That is not the usual course of business. The usual course of business is to have the record closed after the public hearing, but we occasionally leave it open for either a week or 2 weeks.
At the request of
At the request, exactly. So I think it's as much as we ever do, and this is an important issue that we want to hear as many people on as we possibly can. So leaving it open for 2 weeks after is a perfectly legitimate way to do that. And if, as I say, if this motion fails, it was my intent to amend that to Monday the 3rd. So,
Councilor Brown.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds reasonable. My motion doesn't have the support, so I will drop it. If the second will drop it, and I would support that. But we need at least 2 weeks because there's still some unresolved questions. Thank you.
I think so you're dropping it, and okay? And
then I'll amend to Monday the 3rd.
Okay, and you will?
Second.
Okay. I think we're ready to vote on that. Would you vote on that, please? 7 in favor and none in opposition. It passes. And with that, I believe we've completed the work of the evening, so thank you all very much.
One more case of sausage effect.